Hello everyone, and welcome back to GTA Online with Lonclaw and Valerian Steel, where we always deliver. In this series of videos, I'll be looking at the four major businesses around the city and showing you how you can maximize your in-game earnings playing as a solo player. And in this episode, we're going to look at the Bunker Business Guide. Now, this is a fantastic little business that adds nicely to the rest of your MC businesses and your CEO businesses and brings a little bit of military into your everyday GTA grind. So let's have a look at my bunker and I'll show you how it works. So my bunker business is out here in the Chumash coastal area, and this is for your money the closest that you can get to the city in a bunker. And this is a really good location. You can see here that it's right on the highway and it doesn't take long to get there from the Vinewood area, which is where everything else is. Now this bunker, the Chumash bunker, is one of two that you want to consider. The other one is the farmhouse bunker, which is in the Sonora Desert. Both of these will cost you just over a couple of million to purchase, and it's an expensive business because there's a lot of capabilities that come with it, and it unlocks a lot of things that you would otherwise be unable to enjoy within a game. The reason I like this business is purely for its grinding abilities. Now, the best way to describe the bunker business is it's just like another MC business. It's a business that requires some activity. You need to buy supplies or steal supplies and then sell the product once it's ready to sell. But it is very easy, and I'll show you how. So let's have a look at the location of some of the other bunkers, and I can give you some perspective on where these are placed on the map. If you go to your foreclosures app, and you'll be able to see that there are a number of bunkers further up the map that you want to avoid, and these are the cheaper ones, which may seem like a good idea to purchase something that is at the other end of the map, and you think, well, it doesn't take that long to get there, but you will notice the difference when you're doing a sale mission and you're trying to launch it from your arcade. You then have to travel 6 miles before you even get anywhere near your vehicle. So try to avoid the ones that are anywhere north of the Alamo Sea, which is that bit of sea that's sort of plonked in the middle of the map, and really focus your attention on the ones that are closest to the city, because that's going to make the experience easier and better and ultimately more fun. So mine is the Chumash bunker, and you'll be able to relocate your bunker anytime if you do own one of the ones that's a bit further away. Same process I've mentioned before, is that you just purchase a new one and you get a trade price against the old one. The other one to consider is the farmhouse bunker, which is the one that's in the Sonora Desert. These two are really, I wouldn't look at any others if you can afford them. And there is the one near the Fort Zancudo base as well if you're a bit short cash. And bear in mind, sometimes they're on offer, and like this week 50% off nightclubs and MC businesses. Eventually the bunkers will come on sale as well. So let's have a little look around the bunker. You can purchase these little carts because it's quite a sizable map in the bunker. There's quite a distance to cover and you might not want to walk around. Here is where your MOC is parked, and this is the huge van that you use to modify the weaponized vehicles such as the Deluxo or the Scramjet. And you can also have a weapons workshop in there, and you can customize it and do whatever you like with it, but I use mine purely for weaponizing my vehicles and customizing the vehicles. There's a lot of bits in the bunker which I don't take use of, such as gun range. I wouldn't have any use for that, but you can practice your shooting, and you can also have some living quarters there, but I've never really bothered to spawn here because it doesn't take me that long to get there, and I've got a lot of other places I can spawn into. This is the research center, so the bunker gives you the ability to set your staff to manufacturing or research, so they can actually build weapons for you. So you have your computer here, which is how you can organize your staff and how you can launch your sale missions. and I'll show you how this works. You have 3 different bars at the top, your stock and supplies, but you also have a research progress bar. And all the staff that you have when you set up your business, you can allocate them either fully towards producing stock or fully towards research progress, or you can have them allocated 50-50. It will impact the speed that it takes to do both, so to either unlock certain research or to produce stock. But these are the different unlocks that you can have, various cannons and things like that for the weaponized vehicles. Of course, you need to buy the vehicles and have them, and then you can unlock them using the MOC, or explosive shells and different liveries which are available for all vehicles actually that come after this, things like the Oppressor Mark II. Always make sure you've got your bunker fully upgraded and have the security purchase as well, because it will impact how often you get raided. If you have the security, it means that you're going to be raided less. You can spend more time as a CEO without doing anything, without being raided. So since I purchased my arcade business, I usually run my sale missions directly from there, and then I have to travel from the arcade to the bunker to actually pick up the sale vehicle. So do bear that in mind. You might want to launch them from the actual bunker and save yourself a bit of time, and which you can use to actually complete the sale. Always purchase the supplies before you sell the product, and then they'll be waiting for you as soon as you finish the mission. So for this mission you have what's called the Phantom Wedge, which is a huge, we call it a lorry here in the UK, with a massive metal wedge on the front which can knock everything out the way. And the essential challenge here is that after you've driven about half a mile you get a 3-star wanted level, and every single policeman, state police, everyone from the state of San Andreas and Los Santos is basically going to be on your ass trying to stop you from delivering this. And the aim is just to knock everything out of the way. So it's really good fun. You just basically tear down the motorway and knock everything out of the way. And just bear in mind that you can very easily unhook the trailer from the back if you do crash or you swing round. So just, you don't need to go full throttle. You just keep your cool. Once you know where you're going, usually it's down at the docks or to the airport, and just keep heading towards the final location. Usually it takes me a couple of minutes to do this, and there's no major challenge involved. The only problem that I ever encounter is if I'm just being a bit too confident and I just unhook the back of the trailer, or I spin the vehicle around, and then of course the police converge on you and you have to deal with that like this. So you just take a second. If the trailer falls on its ass like that, the game helpfully respawns a trailer for you after about 5 to 10 seconds, and you just simply have to hook back on it. So it's a magnetic thing. Just don't let the police get in between you and the trailer, because they will try, but just keep your cool, pick it up again and head off, and this time maybe a little bit slower. So as I said, full throttle. Particularly this corner is where I'll always end up, if I'm going to mess it up, that's where it will be. And that is probably the only thing that can go wrong, provided you don't get stuck somewhere and then end up getting out and just getting killed and you run out of time. But you get 15 minutes for each of these missions, and there are 5 different sale missions, and this is probably one of the easier ones because it's just about A to B. The police themselves don't really give you too much trouble, except just a lot of noise, a lot of abuse, a lot of roadblocks, but they're not actually able to stop you if you keep moving, so just bear that in mind. And then it is good fun just knocking all the cars out of the way as well, especially when you're on the bridge heading towards the terminal or the airport. You can literally just knock all of the vehicles over the side of the bridge, and it's the only vehicle that you can do that in. And that's one of the things one of the vehicles that you can basically unlock and store in your vehicle warehouse as a special vehicle. If you want to unlock this mission and do it, you can drive around it. But if you do the bunker sales enough, and I do probably 8 to 10 bunker sales a week, you end up driving around quite enough in these vehicles. So really, for me, it would offer me nothing to actually have this vehicle as in my own garage. And once you get to your final destination, it's just a case of driving into the marker, and you can see the yellow flare on the right there. So it's just about understanding where you're traveling to, and it's usually the same spot, so you get used to it. And it can be slightly difficult navigating this long vehicle, but just take your time and make sure you're going through the barriers and you don't detach the trailer on the way, and then that's it, you're all good to go. Just drive into the marker and you'll see a little cutscene which will show you the product being collected by your buyers, and you're all done. And you get 210,000 for completing this sale mission, and nobody takes a cut off that. So if you think about that, 75,000 in supplies, 210,000 back, it's a tidy profit. So the next one up is the Dune Buggy, and this is a challenging little mission, but it is perfectly doable if you just have a certain technique to it. So you're going to pick up a Dune Buggy, and it's wired with proximity mines, which you can drop out the back. The challenge here is there are 4 drops that appear first, and there are 5 in total, and you've just got to go and drop off your product like all other sale missions. But when you drop off product each time, you have some, I call them aggressors, will show up to try and take you out, and they are very difficult to kill. Your best bet in this is to either outrun them completely and just become very good at avoiding them using the proximity mines, but in some cases it is unavoidable and they just will kill you, and you have to get back in the vehicle. Once you're out the vehicle, you can just take them out with your gun, no problem at all, get back in the vehicle. But if this happens too often, you run out of time. You have 15 minutes here, so that's basically a couple of minutes per drop, and if you hang around, or you know, if this happens to you on the highway and you end up respawning underneath the highway and you've got to somehow get back up to your vehicle, it can cause you problems, and these aggressors will literally spawn out of nowhere. So you can see here the yellow flare showing me where the drop is. Now what I usually do is take a moment here, bring up my map, and then set a waypoint to the next drop, because they're not marked in that way on the map. That way I can just get off as soon as I've dropped it, because as soon as you drop it, the guys will show up, and they're in like Dubster 4x4s, so they're pretty tasty, and you want to get. And another challenge here that you're faced with is just simply the actual location themselves. They're all over the map, usually in a place that means you have to drive off-road, and there's quite a distance between each one, and you just want to get the first 4 knocked out as quickly as possible without getting killed, and use those proximity mines, and then the 5th one will reveal itself, and it's usually just a mile away. And get this delivered as quickly as possible, and you'll earn another 210,000. This one is a little bit different. You have some Marshall off-roaders, monster trucks, which you will take to drop off product on literally on the top of the mountains. It's very easy. You do have some helicopters chasing you around, but it's not complicated at all. And there are a couple of locations for this drop if you're using the same bunker as me, and there will always be either it will involve a drive into the city, or just in front of you like this. And if you're lucky enough to get the one in front of you like this, it doesn't take very long at all. But your aim is just to drive to the first one. They're always in a little semicircle, so you're going to drive to the first one, and the best thing to do with this is just take your time with it. Don't be tempted to go off-road at this stage thinking, well, I'll just drive there up the hills, up the mountains, because you will just end up rolling down. You waste a lot of time. Just keep going steady until you come to the actual drop site where you can see the flare, and at that point you want to then sort of look for a nice little mount point in the mountain just to drive up. But these vehicles are pretty good, but you cannot drive up a sheer face of rock. You need to have some kind of little, and there are little nooks and slightly lower bits that you can drive up. But you can see once you're on the mountain top, you drop the flares, you have some helicopters that start chasing you. Now you can get out and take out the gunners. I've done that a few times, but to be honest, I generally don't bother with that. I just outrun it. The only thing that can go wrong in this is if you sit still for too long and the helicopters get a chance to get in front of you and they will just take you out. But most of the time you might get shot a bit, but as long as you keep moving, and you can eat some snacks if you really need to, but most of the time I don't even worry about it. It's just head for the drops. They're very close together. You can see each one as you come to the next one, and just be careful as you're driving, because you can see here I just kind of slip down the mountain, and that means that you're going to eat up a bit of time just going back, but you've usually got plenty of time, 15 minutes for this one. And just keep your eye on where the helicopters are. Don't let them get ahead of you and get a clear shot through the windscreen, because the mounted gunner is pretty aggressive. And I think that the whole point with these bunker sale missions is that they wanted to make it a little bit harder, because you are selling weapons, so it is an arms deal, and in that respect you would expect to have slightly more aggressive bad guys going after you. So there is a bit of a challenge involved in that respect, but that's what makes it fun, and it's a nice break from doing other stuff in the game. And I do enjoy going back to my bunker. It takes a roughly 2 hours real time for one bar of one block of supply, so your 75,000 to turn into 210,000 worth of product, so every couple of hours. So for me, I will do probably 3 or 4 bunker sales per day, just because I'm on fairly regularly. So in that respect, it's a steady earner that can bring you a lot of money, and that's why you need to purchase this business and get involved with it, because it will really help boost your income, because it's not a hard business to crack. And once you get your last drop, Agent 14 will send the helicopters to transport the product to the buyer. And in this one is probably the most trickiest. It involves something that's slightly more complex, and it takes about 30 minutes. The mission lasts 30 minutes. You can probably do it in around 15-16 minutes, something like that. But every time you drop off, you're in an armoured insurgent, and the aim of this is that you'd have someone on the gun helping you out and taking out these guys. So it's kind of easy in that respect. However, you're doing it solo, so it's down to you, and you can get out the vehicle and get into the back of and sit on the gun. But what I do is I don't even leave the vehicle, because you're in an armoured vehicle essentially, and it makes it very difficult for them to kill you while you're in this vehicle. And I use my AP pistol, and I basically wait for Merryweather to show up, and they will turn up at every time you drop your product, and I just take them out one by one using my pistol. Now, because you're sat in the vehicle, these NPCs are programmed to try to get you out of the vehicle so they can kill you. So they will slowly step towards the vehicle, shooting you as they come, and all you've got to do is take them out, kneecap them, shoot them in the head, whatever. And the first couple of drops is just a couple of armored vehicles, so non-armored vehicles, and a couple of insurgents, or at least one insurgent with a mounted gunner on it, and a couple of guys on bikes. And it's fairly simple. You've just got to be aware of your 360 map. So be aware that they will creep up behind you and drag you out, and if they do drag you out, it'll take them 1 or 2 shots to kill you, and then you're going to be out of your vehicle, respawning just a little way from it, and have to run over to the vehicle and take them out. And it isn't hard. I mean, the first time I did this mission, I was getting out the vehicle for some reason and taking them out on foot, and the vehicle makes quite good cover, and you can do it like that if you prefer. But then I realized, why am I shooting them from outside the vehicle when I'm in an armored vehicle? So as soon as you take out the last of the Merryweather guys, there's a little health bar for Merryweather on the side, and you'll see that you can head off to your next drop. So it's the same process at each drop, except it gets a little more intense. There's a little more of them. They're I think helicopters show up on the second one, at least one, and you've got a mounted insurgent, and it makes it a little bit harder, and that's what the challenge is. I tend to try and put my back up against a wall to try and avoid letting them come behind me, because that's where you will get dragged out of the vehicle and you might find yourself killing and then being killed, and then you'll end up spawning too far away. So try to take out the mounted gunner, because he can get through the armor on this, and then try and take out the chopper, but be mindful of all of the idiots that are stepping towards you. I mean, they really are the worst kind of militia army. They're just complete toilet. They will literally drive around in circles, and they don't have any sense to them. So just try and get the better of them by understanding where they are, take them all out. If you can easily shoot the helicopter from inside the vehicle. Just shoot the actual pilot of the helicopter, and watch this guy here. He's coming towards me, and if you move, he suddenly runs back to his car, or he'll basically try and get on his bike or whatever. And as you get closer towards the final drop, things get more tasty each time. There are a couple of different locations for this, as always, and this is a pretty good location, because you end up having to go down to the dam, or the Landak Dam or something I think it's called, and that's pretty hard. But the game here is just keep them in front of you, prevent them from coming behind you. Watch your map again, because they spawn everywhere, and it's a bit of a toss up between you've got to quickly try and shoot the gunner, take him out, then take out the guys that are coming towards you, so you don't get dragged out of your vehicle, and at the same time as staying out of range of the chopper, and until you can get an easy clean shot on the pilot. But the more you do this, the better you get at it, and you can see here I'm kind of ignoring the chopper in favor of taking out the guys that are around me, because they can be just as annoying. And then, as I said, get a clean shot on the chopper and take him out, so that there's a pilot gone. Watch this guy comes up, and I just had to move quickly to avoid him pulling me out of the car, and then reverse over him nicely. I think I pushed that car into that oil tank. And then back to this guy. Watch the guys in the armoured insurgent in front of me, because I'm pretty close. They'll come out. So move around if you need to. I often will just move around during the mission, just to avoid staying in complete range. You can see that helicopter is going to kill me if I don't take him out pretty quickly. So you can see here that I'm trying to get a bead on the pilot. When you do get a bead on the pilot, the helicopter just goes down. And then there's one random, usually the armoured insurgent for some reason will park up in some weird location and just sit there, and you need to go and find it, or take yourself to it. And there's two guys sat in the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and one guy on the back. And why they're sat there facing that wall? I mean, that's what I mean about them being a toilet militia. They really are rubbish. As soon as you get to them, they'll get out and start giving you a load of drip, and just take them out. And then you're on to your final countdown, and it's a bit of a shame, but you get kicked out of the vehicle as soon as you hit the final marker, and you're forced into combat. It's a very smart move to try and call in an air vehicle, and if you're doing these missions as a CEO and not as an MC, which I usually do, I can use my buzzard, but you could do it as an MC and call in an oppressor if you have one. You can see here I'm trying to get into the air, and they're shooting the back out of the helicopter already, and it's smoking like a chimney. So the best thing to do is try and get some distance. I struggled initially to lock on, and because I'm flying around all over the place. You need to be facing them in a straight line, and that's how your missiles work. They will home in on them. But I started to become concerned that the helicopter itself would go down. You know what it's like in these secure serve vehicles. Eventually they run out of health, and you'll end up getting a message from them saying that it's all over. Get on the ground and take out the stupid ones that are just sat there. as you're flying around in the air, they're not expecting that, and it confuses them. So they just drive around all over the place because they don't know where you are. I think that they're programmed and coded to chase you, not the area that the product is dropped in. So you can confuse them by being in the air, and then they go all over the place. And then it's just a case of go and picking each one off. And you can see here there's one, I don't know where they were, somewhere near that tree. I took it out. So you can see in total you've made 840,000 and 540,000 in profit. And this is based on just doing 4 of these. I managed to squeeze 4 solar bunker sales in every day. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a great little method to add into your other businesses, and it supplements your income nicely, and it's a lot of fun. Please go ahead and watch some of the other content I have on my channel, and you'll see that I'm slowly making more content, and I appreciate the support. Please do keep watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.